comment where you're from. You can ask questions. Team got us queued up. We have a good Q&A section here. Just glancing over some of the questions. Really good stuff. Today we're going to be talking about some cool stuff. AI estimating process. We're going to talk about AI avatars for home service businesses, and then this really cool lead quality indexing that we built internally that I'm going to share with you as well. So we got a lot of stuff to talk about today. All right, so the first thing I want to go through is this AI estimating process. So we had a company, they do exterior lighting. So they do Christmas lighting, but they also do landscape lighting, commercial lighting. They're probably one of the top jellyfish dealers in the country, seven figures, multi seven figure type company. And they were having an issue where they were getting so many leads coming in. And for lighting, you have to go out on site a lot of the times to figure out the specs of the home, but also just in general, like how the vibe is and how you want to set things up. So I had James on our podcast from this company called Live Switch, and they recently released this cool AI software that will estimate virtually for you. So basically, we told this company, this lighting company, hey, instead of going out and running every single estimate, why don't you implement this virtual estimating process first? So that way you can either weed out people, but then also you can get this AI prompt set up. So they have these four AI prompts. I wanted to pull it up and just talk through it. So they have four reports that are included, but you can build things out of these prompts. So imagine this. Someone calls into your home service business and they say, hey, I want to get an estimate. And you say, cool, I got to send someone out there. When's the next availability? I'll send them out there in 3 days or tomorrow even. Then it's like there's this time in between that they can call other people, they can get other estimates. So imagine if you sent them a link and said, hey, real quick, do you mind just showing me what's going on? And I'll text you this link. You can open it up and just go through with your phone. I can give it to our guy beforehand, but also it'll allow me to see what the actual issue might be or to evaluate a little bit more. So then they pull up this virtual estimating tool, and even your estimator, let's say they can't get out there, but they could still do this as well. And the canned reports they have is one, create a report to share with customers about the job. So imagine you get on a call and then they tell you all the stuff, and then it gives you a simple report that says, cool, send this to the customer via text or email after that conversation. That way they have a quick recap of what y'all talked about. Two, create a summary. This creates a quick overview of the job. Imagine in like Service Titan or Jobber, House Call Pro, whatever, you're going to have this summary section that you want to set up your technician. This is going to give you that summary section. The third one is tell me the size of the job. Now, this is the AI thing that's really cool is that you could, pan over and look at the stuff and it's actually going to measure what's going on. So receive an estimate of the project scope, including room, furniture, measurements of what's actually going on in the spacing. Like this is pretty crazy, right? You can get all these measurements just by scanning over this thing. And then create an inventory report. This is more for moving contractors. This generates an itemized list for a job or a move. But I would say it's the same thing even for exterior companies. Like it's going to allow you to say, okay, well, this company has, this gutter line here and then this one over here. Like it's going to give you the synopsis of the job. So I imagine where eventually this could be all virtual estimating and it still feels custom and natural. But right now, there's not many companies that are doing this. And I think that companies that layer this into their overall process are going to crush it in the future because it's going to be unique, but it's also going to save them a lot more time. And it's going to give them the personal touch without having to be on site. Imagine someone's in another state and they're your estimator. I mean, it's really crazy to me. Um, this kind of goes into the next thing that I wanted to talk about, which is these AI avatars. So right now we're building these AI avatars for our clients on what's called Notebook LM. It's a Google product. And Notebook LM is a place where you can upload a bunch of different sources and then it gives you almost your own language model that you can access. So imagine for your business, you upload your website, you put in these AI overviews of the actual estimates that you're going on. You have them in there as a source. You put in any SOPs or processes that you have, and now you have this almost like knowledge base for your business that your team can access and ask it questions to. But selfishly, a marketing company like ours, that's why we're building them. A marketing company can go in and ask it questions and build prompts and different things like that. So uh, I think that there's a lot of opportunity here to layer this in. The way that we're using this is that we're taking people's call transcripts from their call recording numbers, and then we're automatically funneling them into this database. We have them going to a Google Sheet. That Google Sheet is kind of like a hub, and then that hub, that sheet is a part of one of the source lists. So we were testing it out this yesterday with our consulting team, And one of our companies, they do gutter cleaning, and it just snowed. There's this big snowstorm that just happened. So they don't usually do this service, but they told everyone that, yeah, we'll do some snow removal for you. So one of the calls that came through was a homeowner that said, "Hey, I saw that you guys might be doing some snow removal. What should I do?" So then we went to this Notebook LM and we asked it a question as if we're a marketing company. Do we do snow removal services? And then it said, "This is not a service that we have listed on our website, and we typically don't do it. However, there was a call on January 26th that said that we do this when there's snowstorms." And it actually cited the source that we could pull up the call transcript and say, "Yep, here you go." Amazing. Like, so cool from a marketing perspective, but then also imagine you have new people coming on your team and you want them to get up to speed. Like, so much opportunity here for these AI avatars, and we're just scratching the surface with stuff on our end. We have one internally for Phil, for me, with all my content that our team can ask it questions to and get real responses as if it's me and cite the sources. So I believe that in the next 12 months that these are going to be on your website, they're going to be in your sales process. It's just an overall knowledge base that can sell for you and do things. Like, it's pretty crazy. So those are some of the AI type things that I see coming down the pike in the next, 6 to 12 months. I think a lot of businesses that don't have content right now, they're going to get left behind. And by content, I'm not just saying like record Facebook videos, whatever, meta videos and TikToks and everything. I'm saying content with transcripts, like what I was talking about with Live Switch. Live Switch allows you to then get the transcripts and have this hub of content or video calls that imagine you could train a new salesperson using those calls. Um, Same thing with call recordings. Those are real content that's happening in your business. It's just not content that you're sharing externally, and it needs to be refined. So there's a lot of opportunities here. And the companies that get that, they're going to be way ahead in the next 6 to 12 months. The companies that have it, happening over here, their actual real conversations, and then their marketing stuff over here, they're going to get left behind because it's all shifting. And the companies that take advantage of the content that they have, they're going to be further ahead. All right, next, I wanted to share this lead quality index thing. I built this internally because we have this, we work with companies that are $1 to $10 million businesses, and typically like $1 to $3 million, they have focused so much on just hot leads. And the reason on hot, and I'm not saying don't focus on hot leads. I'm saying that the reason that they focus solely on hot leads is because they are typically the number one salesperson in their company. And if they could spend 20% of their time on hot leads and close those ones, the other 80% of their time is going to be spent running the business, operations, firefighting, HR, finance, all the stuff that we both have to deal with. So what happens is that they just solely focus on hot leads. But then when they hire a salesperson, of course we want hot leads. But there's other leads going up this quality index. So I'm going to share my screen and walk you through these indexes real quick. Let me just pull this up. Let's see, share screen. I'm just going to share my entire screen because I think I have it pulled up right over here. All right, yeah, y'all should be able to see this. All right, cool. Let me just change my layout so that way you can see me. Just like to be able to be seen. Okay, there we go. All right, so with this, let me get rid of this thing. All right, hold on. See, I knew I should have practiced this ahead of time. I was trying to be cool and just do my live thing, but this all right, we're good. Okay, so hot lead at the bottom, and then you can see here schedule online is like the ultimate hot lead from a website. Someone literally goes to your website and schedules. We all would take these leads because we're going to get on a call or we're going to go out to their place and we're going to sell them. Now we move up to the next stage, which is an organic referral, or they called your business from your Google business profile or something like that. That's going to be a very warm lead. Usually they're 95% of the way there. They just need to talk to someone and get 5%. They need to get scheduled, or they have one quick question to get over the hump. Then Google LSA call, still a warm lead. They went to Google, they clicked on the first person that they thought had the best reviews. And similarly, they just need to kind of get over the finish line. They don't know as much about your business, but they at least are taking the step of calling you, which, as you can see here, like call, a search ad call even is 85%, because that 85%, they have a problem, they found a company, they called the company, and now they're talking to the CSR. And usually this search ad call, 15%, get them over the hump. Now, the reason that I put contact form, chat widget, pop up, and those over here is because if someone was going to call you, they like need it right now. So it's much, much warmer than someone who just fills out a form who's like, yeah, they'll give me a call and get back to me, right? It's a different level of hot lead. So contact form 7 second, 80% of the way there. They still need 20%. You still got to call them. Probably you're going to not answer the first time. Then you're going to call them again. Maybe they answer. Maybe you text them. Maybe you email them, and you start to work this form into a hot lead. Chat widget estimate calculator. Why didn't you call us? You just had a quick question. Why didn't you fill out a form, right? They're kind of moving up the graph of like, I'm kind of interested here. Pop up on site, same thing. I filled out a pop up for some type of a promo, but I didn't go all the way through and actually call you or schedule an appointment. I just said, let me get this promo and see when they reach out to me what that looks like. Search ad form, same thing, went to your website or went to a landing page. They could have called you, but they filled out a form and said, I'll see when people get back to me. They're kind of just spraying and praying and seeing what comes up. Now, here's the next part to this. So a lot of times people do these first 65%. They have a CSR, someone who's, trying to get these leads on the books and hopefully get them to schedule an appointment. And this is not wrong. However, with this lead quality index, what happens is when you bring on a salesperson, you want them to just have hot leads. And there's this other colder lead option that you can unlock up here. But when people talk to us and they say, hey, I run meta ads for home service businesses, you can see up here, that's 45% of the way there. They're usually tire kickers or price shoppers because they don't know anything about you. They don't have the problem right now. They don't know anything about your business. They just saw an ad and said, let me get some more information and see what happens. So this hopefully will help you decide like, okay, how much further out should I go? Should I keep running search ads or should I move to Yelp? The reason Yelp calls and messages are better than Meta and YouTube is because they typically have an intent. They have an intent of going to Yelp, contacting a business, reaching out to them for a reason. YouTube and Meta is more like interrupting them on something that they're doing to try to capture their attention to turn them into a lead, which is why this lead quality index moves up. So I hope this is helpful. It's something that we use internally and we didn't have a graphic to it. So I made this and I shared it with our team, and it was kind of conceptually, we talked about it, but hopefully this is helpful for you as you consider like, what else should I be doing from a marketing perspective? And then also, obviously we want hot leads, but it's not, of course we all want hot leads, but it's not like you're just going to open the floodgates of only hot leads. As you move up the funnel, you get more and more leads, but they're less and less quality, which means you have to work them more and more. All right, let me shift back over here, and we got some good Q&A. As I mentioned at the top, the team had really, really good questions that when I was just sifting through. I'm live. If you have a question, feel free to drop it in the chat, and I'll get to it. These questions were submitted by $1 to $10 million home service businesses, and they're specific things that they're facing. So if you have questions like that, always you can comment on any video, and then they're going to make its way into this. So Q&A. I own a $3 million remodeling company. What marketing activities don't require ad spend but still drive revenue? All right. So if you own a home service business and you want to grow, and it's not just ad spend, I was exactly in your shoes. I was at a $3 million home service business. And every time I talked to my marketing company, I was director of business development. Every time I talked to the marketing company, they said, spend more on ads, spend more on ads. And I'm like, okay, but how do I know that that's going to actually help me grow my business? Who are these magical, mystical leads that you speak of? And what's my return on ad spend? And they couldn't answer that question. And okay, cool. But the question specifically talks about doesn't require any ad spend. So there's really two main ones that I would say are more marketing activities. And then I'll give you a couple other bonus ones. First is building out referral partnerships, B2B partners, complementary services. So at my home service business, we did air duct cleaning. So we went out and found HVAC contractors, restoration contractors, and property managers. And it was our job, well, it was my job to build the relationships with them, go out, do the lunch and learns, get them on a referral program and start sending referrals into us. So one marketing activity that doesn't require any ad spend is finding complementary services, building a relationship with them, and then getting them signed up for your referral program and then having them send you referrals. When they send you referrals, then you give them money. You give them either, $50 to $100 per lead, $50 to $100 to $200 per customer, or whatever that looks like for your business. But essentially, you don't have to spend any money, just time of building these relationships, maybe, some donuts or something like that, but not like a ton of thousands of dollars. And you build relationships, they send you leads, and that comes in. So that's the first one that I always tell people, like, even if you're $1 million business and you don't have that built out, that I know for a fact that's $1.5 million, because at my $3 million home service business, it was $1.5 million of their revenue. The second thing is retargeting your past prospects and customers costs virtually $0 aside from, sending out an email blast to them or calling them is free. And I can't tell you, I talk to so many home service business owners that are $1 to $10 million, and they know they should be doing email marketing. They know that they should be reaching out to their past prospecting customers, but they don't. And this is literally free, and even better, they already know, like, and trust you. So when you reach out to them and you cross sell them a service, or even just call them and say, "Hey, I see it's been a couple months or 12 months since we worked together or we came to your house to do anything. Just want to check in and see how 2026 is treating you. If you have any projects planned for this year." Like, you can't get lifetime value without a lifetime relationship. So those two things cost zero money, and they are literally millions of dollars in businesses that we work with. I'll give you an example. An email newsletter. We had a client, they were $1.5 million. They started sending out one email every single month, and we set it up for them. And that email generated $263,000 in revenue just by sending out one email every single month. And we weren't even doing a two-step revenue sequence. They weren't even calling the opens. They weren't calling anyone. It was literally just an email that was going out. So there's tons of opportunity here. Some of the other cherries on top on this, that are not necessarily marketing activities, but can help you grow your business and drive revenue, which is the second half of this question, is optimizing your actual conversion funnel. And this is a huge, huge opportunity for businesses. For example, if you get 100 leads and you book 50 of those leads into jobs, the other 50 leads you paid for, right? You paid for those leads. If you were to go from 100 leads and still maintain 100 leads and go from 50 book jobs to 60 book jobs, that's 10 more book jobs. If your average ticket's $1,000, 10 jobs times 1,000, that's $10,000, right? So you can do the math. So this is one way that you drive revenue in your business without spending any more on ads, is just tightening up your funnel. Same thing with your estimate process. If your estimate close rate is below 40%, big opportunity for you to increase that to 50% and close a lot more deals. And these people are already at the bottom of your funnel, right? You already went out there. You already got the estimate. All they need is to get that over the finish line. So those are two big activities: the booking rate and then the estimate close rate. I'm telling you, it will drive revenue in your business. Like those things that I just gave you, if you do those, they're all free. Like, that's $1 million business right there. Like, you can do it. Like, I know for a fact you can do it because I did it. All right. Next question. We are with a marketing company that owns our website. How do I get my website from them? First off, man, I'm sorry. There's a huge issue in marketing agency land realm. That's why I'm anti-agency, that they hold your stuff hostage. They keep your Google Ads account, they keep your website, they keep anything that they ever did for you as proprietary. Like, I believe that if you're paying for marketing, the company should be integral in your business into building systems inside of your business. That's not to say that there's some proprietary stuff and different things that they do, but the whole goal is to grow your business and to make you better off than when you first started with them, not hold you hostage with some type of subscription model thing where it's like, if you leave us, then we take all your stuff, because you're paying for SEO every single month, right? You probably are. And then when you stop working with them, you lose everything, all the SEO work that they did, the website, like all this stuff. It's just absolutely ridiculous. So, how do I get my website from them? I'll say there's a couple things that you can do here. First, considering rebuilding your website the exact same thing that you have before you just turn off your website with them and cancel it, and do 301 redirects. This will allow you to, like, maintain the domain going to the next place to hopefully still kind of capture the SEO juice that's there. It's not perfect, but it will give you a little bit of a bridge, so that way you have a website that looks like, for example, this is what we do. We'll go and rebuild a website on Elementor that looks exactly like the site that they currently have, so that the look and feel is all the same and matches, but they just own the site. We do this a lot of times, unfortunately, because these companies hold these people hostage. Um, so that's the first thing. The second thing is, if you want to get tit for tat, like, you could go through their proposal and then say, like, hey, this wasn't disclosed to me, or I didn't know that this was going to happen. So, I need something, or, hey, could I pay a unlock fee for this? There's things like that. But the main premise here, I would say, is that if you find a marketing company that you want to work with, ask them, like, who owns my stuff? And if you've been burned on this before, you're nodding your head being like, yeah, I know. If you've never been burned like this, know this going forward, of like, who owns all my digital assets? Because those are assets that, if you want to go and sell your company, for example, like, if someone owns your stuff, like your website, and you get what I'm saying, it's your asset that you own. And if you don't own your assets and you're just renting, we all know that that's not good. All right, next up, Let's see. I own a $1 million HVAC business. I'm spending about $2,500 a month on ads, and my revenue is basically flat. Why isn't that money moving the needle? All right, so your $1 million business, you're spending 2,500 on ads, your revenue's still flat. Why isn't that money moving the needle? This sounds like pretty much 50% of the businesses that we talk to, where it's like, I'm doing the stuff, like I'm doing the SEO, I'm spending the money on ads, I'm willing to invest, but I can't get over this hump. I can't figure out why. And I'll break it down very simple for you. There is good digital marketing, and good digital marketing will usually get you to $1 million. Aside from running a solid business, like if you have decent digital marketing, that'll usually get you to $1 million. And then having like a really rock star business, good customer experience, good sales process, good owner, they get it, the vision, and then having some SEO and ads is there. The problem is that once you start to stall out around $1 to $2 million, because there's two other prongs that you have to add to this. If you think of it like a stool, there's three parts to the stool. The first one is marketing, which you're doing the marketing stuff and you're willing to spend money on that. The second stool part is data. And data, to get you to $1 million, a lot of business owners are just like, who knows? I barely use my CRM. I use it 70%. I don't really look at my data. But once you get over $1 million, the data is what you got to do. So I'll give you a perfect example. We had a company that was spending $22,000 a month on ads, and they didn't know if it was generating $100,000 or $0. Okay. You're probably spending $2,500 a month on ads, and you don't know if it's generating you $10,000 or $0 because you're not pulling return on ad spend data from your CRM. And this is the data piece. You gotta know that, okay, my marketing budget is 3 to 10% of my revenue. That gives me $10,000 a month. Here's how I'm going to deploy that money. I'm going to spend $2,500 on Google Ads. I'm going to spend $2,000 on Yelp. I'm going to hire an agency for $5,000. I'm going to do this and do that. That money right there, every single month, you need to be looking at, okay, how is this stacking up? I spent this much money on Google Ads. I made this much money. I spent this money on Yelp Ads. I made this much money. And then you need to optimize. And there's two ways to optimize. Is it your internal processes, like your booking rates, your leads coming in and you're not closing them? And or is it the actual ads, the landing page, the actual ads that you're running? Are they not working? Those are the two things. So to answer your question, and I'll give you the third part to this one in a second. If you're spending $2,500 on ads and your revenue's flat, then the $2,500 are not helping you grow your business, because you would know, if I'm spending 2,500 bucks and I'm making $25,000, I'm going to spend more money on ads to make more money back, and you're not going to be stuck. The third part to the stool, and this is the part that a lot of people, once you get to the $1 million, you start to realize, oh, I need this. And that's the automation and the nurture process. So the three parts of the stool is this: data, digital marketing, that's good. That's tied to data to make decisions. That's then automated with good automations. So when someone goes and fills out a form, you need that form to get dropped into your CRM through some type of an automation. When someone calls a lead and they don't answer inside of your CRM, and they have the data that this person didn't answer, they need to go into an automation. That automation will then help your digital marketing, because it will help support your digital marketing leads that you're generating. And this is the flywheel. A lot of times people 1 to 3 million, they stall out because they can't build this in their business, because it takes a company like Chirp or Hatch or some automation tool, and then someone to oversee it. Usually the business owners, like the CTO. Then you have a CSR admin person who is kind of doing your CRM, but they're not really pulling the data. Then you have a fractionalized marketing company that's asking you for all these questions and how to do this stuff. This is the plague that a lot of people face. And this is the exact problem that I face. And this is the solution that we solve for businesses if we do all three of those things. So that's probably why you feel stalled out and you're spending money because you don't know the data and your revenue is flat. All right. For people that are here, if you're here, I'm live, so feel free to drop a comment. I'm happy to help. I got a couple more Q&As from people. Let's see. I'm getting tons of clicks and form fills from social, but the leads are trash. What's the real issue, marketing or my process? All right. So kind of like what I mentioned before. First, evaluate, are the lead qualities bad? So the leads are not good. And this person said that the leads are trash. Or is it my process and what's my booking rate on these leads? A lot of times, what I know from social content, and this is that lead indexing that I pulled up a little bit earlier, for people, if y'all are just joining this, is basically the funnel is everyone wants hot leads to schedule online. And as you move up the funnel, to Google search ads, Yelp, YouTube, Meta, they get colder and colder because the intent is not there. The intent is not someone going to your website, reading your review, scheduling an appointment, or calling you or filling out a form. The intent is they're scrolling through social media, they see an ad and they fill out a thing. And that's why they're usually price shoppers and tire kickers, because they don't know anything about your business. So, business owner, I'm getting a ton of clicks and form fills from social, but the leads are trash. This is common. So you can do two things. You can either spend more per lead. So usually a lead on Facebook is going to be $10 a lead. Okay. And a lead on Google search ads is going to be like, let's call it $100 a lead. So you could spend 10 times more dollars to get a warm lead, or you could get 10 trash leads and maybe one of them is warm. It just depends on how much time you want to spend working these trash leads to try to find one diamond in the rough. Or you can go upstream and spend more on good quality leads and get less of them and have to spend more money on the leads, but it saves you more time working the trash leads. I would recommend working in the inverse, working on the hottest leads first, and then working up to less and less expensive leads that are colder and colder. Because as you scale your business, you as a business owner, your CSR, you can't be running around wasting time on all these trash leads, and you have to work your way up the funnel. It works really well. What we see a lot of times is that companies go straight to the cheapest leads and then they burn out their team because they're just calling trash leads every single month. And they see a fake number of leads when the fake number of leads is not truly lead quality, like good quality leads. And that's why there needs to be that buffer in there. So my recommendation to you would be diversify your marketing into other warmer channels. We know that 80% of homeowners still go to Google when they need someone to help them with a problem in their house. So we would typically start in those four areas: Google LSA, Google search ads, the map pack, and then local SEO, and then move up from there. Go to Yelp. Yelp is a really good platform for home service businesses. We have clients that are 10xing their ad spend on Yelp. So working your way up the funnel from there. All right, next question we got. If I want to sell this business in 2 years, what marketing system matters most to buyers? All right, great question. And I would say I I'm uniquely positioned to answer this specifically because I've had probably 4 situations where I was talking with private equity companies, with the home service business owner on their side, explaining exactly what we do, and they had multiple $1 million exits. So I've been on the other side, with the home service businesses, talking to private equity buyers or search fund buyers about what we do. In particular, when I was at my $3 million home service business, we went to $5 million and then we sold to private equity. And when the owner got the call from the search fund guy, me, the owner, and the search fund guy all went to lunch together for the first meeting that we had in Northern Virginia. And we sit down and the guy asked him these 3 questions. And this is the marketing system that matter the most to buyers. So these 3 questions. He said, the search fund guy said, how do you all get new customers? And the business owner looked at me and said, can you explain how we get new customers to him? And what they want to hear is this. They want to hear that we have a great organic presence we have the most reviews in the local area. We get a lot of leads from our website. And if you know the actual number of leads, like, hey, we get 1,000 people to our website, which turns into 100 leads every single month, good sign. Second, return on ad spend. They want to know that you also get new customers from running ads. Yeah, for sure. Our average ROAS, return on ad spend, is 5x. We spend 2,000, we make 10,000. They're gonna light up. Oh my gosh, you know this number, so great. Third, we have referral partnerships built out. People are sending us warm leads from other people in the community, and we have this referral network built out already, sending us leads. Wow, great. What they want to hear from the visibility piece is that when I buy this company, it's not going to fall apart because the owner's not there. It's not like they're all calling the owner's cell phone and all these leads are just coming in and the owner's closing them. So they want to know, how do we get new customers? This second one is very, very, very important, specifically for the key man risk, what I just mentioned. When a lead comes in, how do you turn it into an actual sale? I'm going to say this again. When a lead comes in, how do you actually turn it into a sale? The reason that they ask this question is because they want to know that when I remove this owner from the business, when I buy this company, is there someone that's going to answer the phone, talk to the lead, book an estimate, sell the job, and get money in the bank without the owner being involved? This is why you need to have that conversion funnel tight. You need to know your booking rate and your close rate. And even if you don't know these numbers, you need to have a process that happens in your business. Yes, the answer is someone fills out a form, they get a call, they get a text and an email. Our CSR talks to them. Our booking rate right now is 60%. So if we get 100 leads, we book 60 jobs. Then we have an estimator or technician goes out and does the job, and they give them an estimate, and our close rate out on the job site is 50%. And our average ticket is $3,000. If you tell them like that, the process of what you do, we have an estimate nurture sequence, a lead nurture sequence, blah, 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 gold, right? You need to have a process in your business for that. And then the third thing, the marketing system matters most to buyers is the third thing is, he asked me this question: how do you retarget your past prospects and customers? All these people that have come to we were, 25-year-old business. So we had thousands and thousands and thousands of people in our database. How are you retargeting them to bring them back into your funnel? Do you do an email newsletter every single month? Do you text them? Do you call them? Do you have reoccurring revenue? Do you have memberships? They want to know that there's a lot of opportunity. And I'll be pretty candid about this. They would love if you don't do this. Okay. They would love if you don't do any retargeting, because they know when they buy your company that they're going to plug this arm into your business and they're going to generate 20, 30% growth right away. And this is a hidden secret a lot of businesses don't think about. If you want to sell your business and you're not doing this, the buyer is going to buy it at a premium because they know that there's 20 or 30% lift they can get right away just by doing that. That's a golden nugget for you. So if you're not doing that in your business, you should be doing that. And that's the three prongs to a good marketing system that matters most to buyers. Awesome. Hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, drop a comment. I'll see you in the next live.